Right now, over 28,000 players are playing historical Total War games every day. That's if you combine the 24-hour peak players across titles like Rome 2, Medieval 2, Empire, Napoleon, Shogun 2, and more. And compare that to Total War Warhammer 3, which despite being the flagship fantasy product, the flagship any product really with constant DLC support, this game peaks around 25,000 daily players. So that's right, the old titles, some of them nearly 2 decades old, combined have more daily players right now than Warhammer 3. That's not just impressive, that's a warning shot to CA. And sure, all these historical titles are different settings played by people who may not be appealed to play one over another, but still, CA's next historical, if it's big and bold enough, could just unite all of these players under one banner. It's time for a new major historical Total War, the likes of which would far surpass even the previous titans of this franchise. And the last attempt by CA was a complete misfire with Total War Pharaoh. Even though Dynasties was a step in the right direction, it failed to fix some of its core issues, turn that ship around, and capture the player base enough to make it a success. For a long time now, there has been a growing call across the Total War community, not whispered, but shouted every day, every week in forums, comments, and live streams. We want a proper historical Total War back. And the numbers tell a story that Creative Assembly can no longer afford to ignore. These games aren't alive by accident. They're thriving because of a deep-rooted love for history, for empire building grounded in real-world logic, and for the immersive, authentic feel that made Total War a household name in strategy gaming. There's no flashy magic here, no orcs, no vortexes, just disciplined formation lines, naval bombardments, and the tension of knowing that one wrong political move could sink your entire campaign. That's what tens of thousands of players still want today. That's also why there are tens of thousands of mods across all these games and hundreds more that get released every year. Players are so passionate and dedicated to keeping them alive and kicking that we've still got 20-year-old mods being updated even today. And more often than not, mods like Stainless Steel, Medieval Kingdoms 1212 AD, Empire 2 Total War, or Dividend Impera, all these mods are not just built on a vision of how to improve the games they're built on, but also a vision of what their sequels might be like. That's how incredible this modding community is, trying to push the boundaries, renew, and improve. And let's be real here, if Creative Assembly wants to reignite the historical franchise in a big way, there is no need to overthink it. The answer is simple: Empire 2 or Medieval 3. These aren't just wishlist titles, they are guaranteed gold mines. The original Medieval 2, released in 2006, almost 20 years, is still beloved, still played by nearly 5,000 people daily, still modded heavily, lots of mods still being updated for this game. It is often held up as the gold standard of Total War experiences. Empire, for all its flaws, remains iconic, a bold experiment with global scale, naval warfare, gunpowder mechanics that fans have been dreaming of revisiting ever since. It still sees over 3,000 daily players. A modern take on these games with 2025 graphics, smarter AI, a new engine, deeper systems, better mod support would be massive. Add in regional expansions, cultural flavor packs, historical campaign chapters like the Mongol invasion or the 7 Years' War, and you've got years of DLC potential. These titles wouldn't just sell, they would dominate, and crucially, they would restore trust if they were done well. After a string of underwhelming or polarizing releases, a massive, high-quality historical title could bring old players back, attract new players, and rebuild the prestige that once made Total War an unshakable pillar of strategic gaming. Now, of course, some of you will argue, but CA did just make a historical game. Isn't Pharaoh proof that the audience isn't really there? No, Pharaoh isn't proof of disinterest, it's proof of a classic Creative Assembly misfire that CA, even with the Dynasties update, never managed to fully recuperate from. The setting is compelling. The Bronze Age is an amazing period that could be done in strategy gaming. The idea was solid, but the execution lacked the ambition and depth that players crave. Core mechanics feel shallow, diplomacy is basic and not really connected to other systems. The battle AI was dated, the economy lacked strategic layers. At launch, it felt like just another Rome 2 derivative, a reskin rather than a reinvention of the series. And while the free Dynasties update did add welcome features, like I said, family trees, character aging, greater replayability, it came too late. It should have been there from the beginning. Most of the historical audience had already checked out by then. The game had already been labeled another niche experiment, a side project, not a mainline return. Now, I don't speak for all historical players, I'm not going to pretend to here, but I think I've got a fairly good idea about what I want out of the next game. So here it is. I want depth, not just detail and choice. These can seem very superficial if done just for the surface. I want complex politics that have lasting multi-turn effects, grand strategy that binds nations together or tears them apart in complex and often unexpected ways, trade, diplomacy mechanics that feel connected, economies that can grow, stagnate, or decline no matter what I do to make the best of my situation. I want maps that don't just look good, they need to play well, not just cinematic, but tactically rich. I want true historical immersion, not superficial window dressing, which has kind of been the case for the last few games. Better yet, I want smarter AI and a better engine. Both of these areas have been dated and broken for a long time in the series and deserve better. AI clearly isn't as smart as it can be, and often their prioritizations are completely counterintuitive to what a human player would do, or worse, the AI just doesn't engage with whole mechanics at all, often leading to a lot of immersion breaking points that puts people off playing. And a better engine, I mean, this is something people have been clamoring about for years. Total War battles have simply gotten worse since at least Rome 2, simply down to the way the engine has to adapt to different styles of warfare that are very disconnected to what the original engine was intended to be made for, right? Game to game with more and more of a messy adaptation, it just doesn't work. We need a new engine that can actually do the kind of warfare it's supposed to be doing, and stop trying to slap on an old engine to whatever, regardless of the issues. Also, over the years, Total War has seen the rise and fall of numerous systems and mechanics, some of which were beloved by the community and worked so well in their games, yet quietly discarded in future titles. As the series evolved, many of these mechanics were stripped away in the name of accessibility or simplification, but what players I think want now, more than ever, isn't less depth, it's more. Take family trees and dynastic politics, for example. These were essential in Medieval 2, in Rome, and Shogun 2. You know, they gave weight to your decisions, letting you guide your lineage through generations, navigate internal power struggles, and manage ambitious nobles or generals. Trait and ancillary systems are another lost gem. Older titles let characters develop organically over time, with traits that reflected their battlefield actions, political decisions, and personal events. Multi-resource economies and trade goods with real strategic value. In Empire and Shogun 2, controlling specific resources like spices, ivory, or silk genuinely shaped your expansion. You'd fight wars over sugar islands or trade nodes because they mattered. Siege and garrisons have also regressed. Attila gave us layered city defenses, burning buildings, food shortages, sanitation systems. Sieges were brutal, slow, and full of attrition. In recent titles, sieges often feel like glorified field battles with walls. And the truth is simple. Total War already had many of the right ideas. It just needs to stop abandoning them and start building on them again. A historical flagship game should be the culmination of 20 years of Total War design, not a complete reset. Finally, the last thing I want to mention here is if there is one historical title in recent memory that actually showed what a modern Total War campaign could look like successfully, it was Three Kingdoms. For all its criticisms, it introduced a slew of groundbreaking features that elevated the strategic layer to a level of sophistication rarely seen in the series. And the sad irony is that Three Kingdoms, despite all of this, was abandoned just as it was hitting its stride. But its legacy should be the foundation of any future historical flagship. For years, it's not been CA that's kept the historical side of Total War alive. It's been the players that have had relentless passion, modding, community discussion, thousands of hours poured into older titles that still shine despite their age. And that kind of love doesn't fade. It's not just a signal, it's a siren, a call for something bold, something worthy. I don't want just another historical Total War. I don't think you do either. I think I want the historical Total War, the historical game we've been waiting for, the one that learns from the past and dares to surpass it. A title that builds on the systems that made this franchise great, that listen to the players who've stayed loyal, and that moves forward not with gimmicks or shortcuts, but with depth, vision, and heart. We've waited long enough. The demand is here. The players are ready. Now it's time for Creative Assembly to rise to the moment and deliver the historical masterpiece we all know is possible. In fact, I want to end this video here with a call to all other Total War content creators. If you agree with me here, make your own videos talking about this, asking CA for a new, invigorating, innovative major historical Total War, a new flagship for this side of the series. Let's start a domino effect of videos coming out from everyone, Jackie Fish, Legend, Lionheart, whoever, anyone and everyone, to ask CA for a proper major game. Or even you, viewer, why don't you go and voice your want for a new game yourself as well? Write to CA, write in their Discord, on Reddit, wherever you can. Let's get loud and let CA really know that we are over 28,000 strong, asking for a new major historical game, the likes of which we've been waiting for a long time. Long enough. This year is the 25th anniversary of the Total War series. It's the perfect year to do something like this, to really pull back the curtains and say, hey, we really care about historical Total War. We want to learn from all of our previous work and create something you will be proud of, you deserve, that will reinvigorate the historical side of the series. Now is the time. I really hope this happens. Hope is all we have at this point, and I think the more of us that shout out about this, that tell CA this is something we will all be interested in, I think the more CA will actually do it. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you did, give it a like, drop any thoughts or questions in the comment section below about anything I've talked about here, and let me know what you think about a historical Total War, the next game you'd like to see, and whether you think, despite all of us shouting out loud, whether CA will actually make one, who knows. Subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this, and thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.